Hey guys, in this part we talk about form attributes in HTML. The action attribute. The action attribute defines the action to be performed when the form is submitted. Usually the form data is sent to a file on the server when the user clicks on the submit button. So we have an form element and first name and last name and submit button. So for example, I set the action attribute to the form, and for example action, and yeah, Control S and Control R. So I click on the submit button and we have F name and L name. Tip: if the action attribute is omitted, the action is set to the current page. So I remove the action and Control R. Click on the submit and we have F name and L name in the index.html file. The target attribute. The target attribute specifies where to display the response that is received after submitting the form. We have, so for example, I set the target and we have blank, parent, self, top, and yeah. The blank response is displayed in a new window or tab, and parent response is displayed in the parent frame, and in self the response is displayed in the current window, and in the top the response is displayed in the full body of the window. So I set the blank, and the default value is self, which means that the response will open in the current window. So Control S and set the action and action, Control R. And click on the submit, and the response open in a new tab. The method attribute. The method attribute specifies the HTTP method to be used when submitting the form data. The form data can be sent as URL variables with get method, or as HTTP post transaction with post method. The default HTTP method when submitting form data is get. So I set the method get, and before see the result, I talk about notes on get and on post. In on get, form appends the form data to the URL in name value pairs, and never use get to send sensitive data. The submitted form data is visible in the URL. The length of a URL is limited and useful for form submissions where a user wants to bookmark the result. It is good for non-secure data like query strings in Google. And on post, form appends the form data inside the body of the HTTP request, and the submitted form data is not shown in the URL. Post has no size limitations and can be used to send large amounts of data. Form submissions with post cannot be bookmarked. So Control S and Control R. Click, and we have F name and L name in the URL, and change the get to post, and Control R, submit, and we don't have F name and L name. The autocomplete attribute. The autocomplete attribute specifies whether a form should have autocomplete on or off. When autocomplete is on, the browser automatically complete values based on values that the user has entered before. So autocomplete is on, and save controller. So for show the example, I remove values and controller. I click in the first name and the browser shows choices. Yeah. And if autocomplete is off, controller, and we don't have choice. And the no validate attribute. The no validate attribute is a Boolean attribute. When present, it specifies that the form data or input shouldn't be validated when submitted. So I set the required to first name and controller. For example, fill the inputs, and if I please fill out this field, and you can't submit the form if first name is empty. And I set no validate and controller, the first name is empty, and submit. We can submit the form.